bring in Michael Vick. Mike, if we have a pro day, can you run sub 4.5 40?
I say about a 4.5.
About a 4.5.
A legit 4.5.
Okay.
And you know, with a legit 4.5, that's good enough escapability. So you're doing pretty well.
Of all of the quarterbacks now, who could outrun you right now?
I have to say long speed. Man, a couple of them that got some speed. I probably would say Kaepernick. He seemed like he moves the fastest. Never really seen Russell's straight line speed. I know he got escapability, but I would have to go with Colin Kaepernick.
So Kaepernick, yeah, he's got legitimate track speed there. But if I'm talking a 40-yard dash, Kaepernick's not going to be the guy you worry about. It might be a guy like Russell Wilson, or right?
Yeah, it might be Russell out of everybody. I think he's got a little explosiveness. I think his get off is extremely quick, and that's why I excel. I excel in the first 10 yards. So that's what the race will be won in the first 10 yards.
Were you ever discouraged from running? Did coaches ever try to tell you not to run as much?
In all of my years in the NFL or college, I never had a coach discourage me from running or told me not to run. They always encouraged me to do it. They knew it was a gift. They knew it was a part of my game. And, I appreciated the fact that I had the legs and the speed to get away. It was a way to escape and not to get hit. So, I kind of used that as a tool to win football games.
What kind of interest are you getting from teams?
We got a couple phone calls. I won't say as many phone calls as I like, but, I understand the dynamic. I'm 36 years old. The thing is, I still have a lot in the tank. I go work out, still go throw, still feel good. And, the thing is with me, I just don't like the way the season ended last year. I ended the year inactive, and that's not me. I'm truly better than that. And I believe in that. I know I can still win football games. Not saying that I can go out and be a 16-week starter. Who knows? But you got to get that opportunity. I still feel like I can produce, and, I guess that's what's most important at the end of the day.
What if you had a pro day? Have you thought about that?
If I had a pro day, I would light it up. I mean, I go work out, and I look good in my training, and everybody tells me that, so that gives me the confidence that, I do still have it. And the reason why I can, think forward and think positive about, where I'm at in my career and, how I can finish. And it's all about finishing strong. So, a pro day, it'll be exceptional for me and for everybody watching. But, do I want to run the 40 again? No.
Mike, you got to run the 40.
I mean, now your hamstrings are at risk. And I haven't had the best track history with my hamstrings, but a dash out here, get out there, I still got it in me.
He's Michael Vick, free agent quarterback, joining us, Dan Patrick Show. Who's the best quarterback of all time?
Oh man, that's a tough question because there's so many good ones. I mean, you look at the league now and in the past, and it's just been so many guys that has done so much for the game of football.
How about the guys you
played?
You guys, how about the guys you played against? Who was the best quarterback you ever faced?
The best I ever faced? Well, I would have to. It's two or three quarterbacks that I faced that I really felt like going into the game, I would have to be super dynamic to win the game. And one was Peyton Manning. The other was obviously Tom Brady. And Aaron Rodgers, even at a young age, after watching a lot of film on him. And also Drew Brees, I can't leave him out. These guys were great quarterbacks who I knew you had to put up at least 30 points or more to win the game, hands down.
What do people say to you on the street?
Oh, man, it's all love when I'm out in the street. I never been in a position or in a place where I've got a negative comment about anything that took place in my life. We may have had a debate about a game or two where I didn't win or I didn't produce or I didn't play as good. but I never had a negative comment from a fan about anything that taken place in my life, and I appreciate that more than anything because, it goes to show that, people, they support you throughout whatever you go through, and some people talk down on other people and think that, everybody's not, on your team or, out for your best interest, but, I beg to differ. Throughout my entire life and even throughout the tragic situation I went through, I never had a fan come up and say anything negative. Never had just the average person come up and say anything negative to me, and it discredits everything that everybody believes in. And I'm thankful for that, man. That people still so support and they still care about people out here in this world.
When Bleacher Report released Vic the documentary, what did you want people to know from that documentary that maybe they didn't know?
I just wanted them to know the origin of where I came from, the origin of my tragic situation and what I went through. Me as a person, more in depth, and kind of heard from me, in terms of what I went through and what I was, my train of thoughts back in those days, and how I'm going about life moving forward and trying to make change. So that was just a small fraction of the things that I really want to express. But when they first came to me, asked me to do the documentary, I thought it would be a platform to just start setting the stage, just to educate. And I knew it was going to be some dark times and some critical moments in there where people was going to question, but I was more than willing to deal with that because I knew that was the only way that we can move forward. Sometimes you got to take a step backwards in order to move forward, and I kind of looked at it in that regard.
Are you allowed to have a dog now?
Yeah, I'm allowed to do anything I want to do as long as it's not illegal.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. Was there a time frame where you couldn't have a dog? Or... Yeah,
when I first came home from prison, I was on probation, and that was part of my probation. So I abided by that, and I respected those rules and those restrictions.
How tough was it to tell your children that they couldn't have a dog?
Well, it's always tough when you have kids that can't really comprehend or understand what's taking place in their life, and they have wants and things that they desire to have, and when it's out of their control or out of your control, and then it gets frustrating. But at the same time, I knew time was on my side, and I just had to come up with a million excuses to make them feel better, and that was something that I was able to do. Thank God they appreciated it and they respected it, and they was willing to wait their turn.
Would you rush for 6,000 yards so far? Could you have played tailback in the NFL?
I could have, but I don't know if I needed the ball in my hands that much. I was, already considered injury prone, in the eyes of a lot of people. But absolutely, I just did it from a different position, and it was much easier doing it at the quarterback position and much more natural because that's the way I did it growing up. That's the way I molded my skills. But hey, to have 6,000 rushing yards, to be at the top of that list, and I don't see anybody breaking that record for a long time. Something that I can hold on to for a long time, and I really appreciate that stat so much. I know it's not the best stat, but for me, and everybody who came before me and who will come after me, it's something they can gun for, and they can try to set their sights out to break it, and that's what's going to make the game even better as time go on.
Did you ever feel bad for a defender that you embarrassed on a highlight, Mike?
Yeah, I did. Because some guys, they tore their ACLs, they sprained ankles. It wasn't the prettiest situation, but it was times in games where I felt like I was just dominating, and I was dominating too much. And you got to tell yourself, pinch yourself, and say, look, you got to keep going because they're out to get you. But there was so many games that I played in where I had so much fun, and even up until last year playing in Pittsburgh, I still was padding the rushing stats and padding my stats, and still putting wins in the win column. So I'm just thankful that God seen me through up until this moment and still give me the passion to want to go play and want to perform at a high level. And I still have the work ethic now and even more to, try to put myself in that position. So, just got to be patient from here and wait for things to happen.
Could you run backwards and beat Ben Roethlisberger running forwards?
Ben shouldn't get offended by this, but yeah.
Yeah, you
But
could.
if you ask Ben will tell you he's a great athlete, which he is now. But, running backwards, I still might get him. That's not Ben's forte. Ben's a great lateral mover. I think his movement, in the pocket in terms of, agility laterally is what makes him special. He's not going to beat anybody in the 40.
Well, he would beat Brady, wouldn't he?
I think Ben would beat most quarterbacks because with Ben, it's all mental. He's so strong mentally that he's not going to let you beat him. The one thing that I don't think he get enough credit for is his athleticism, even though it don't show up. But, go back and watch his highlights. I encourage everybody to go back and watch Ben Roethlisberger's highlights, and you'll see a couple 36-yard runs and 26-yard runs for touchdowns that, that are you. Despite everything that he does in the passing game is great. He padded his rushing stats, too. He probably got more than most.
Mike, good luck if you get a phone call. If not, you got your health, you got your family, and the rest of your life.
That's it.
So
that's it.
It's the most important thing right there. Thank you, Mike.
Yeah, appreciate it.
All right, Michael Vick.
The Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings on Audience.